The boy with the red face. Bear with me, this is my first post here, but I don't know where else to seek advice. Last week, I was getting my 4-year-old daughter ready for bed. Her bedroom blinds were open and the sun was setting. Out of nowhere, she says, "Mommy, I want to close the blinds so I don't see the boy with the red face tonight." She has a balcony attached to her bedroom with a door that's double locked, and she does not go out there. I asked her to describe the boy, and if it was blood on his face or if it was just the color red. She said it was his face that was red, and she saw him peeking through her blinds. My husband and I stared in awe. I told her if she sees him again to come tell me and her dad, and we will tell him to go away. I shut her blinds, she says her prayers, and she goes to sleep. The next day, while putting her to bed, she reminds me to close her blinds so that she doesn't see the boy with the red face again. It obviously freaked me out because I was initially thinking it may have been a dream. Any thoughts or ghost stories related to a boy with a red face? While simple, this is a really unnerving story. Anytime kids, or to a lesser extent animals, see something that isn't of this world, there is just as much a chance that they are making it up as there is the chance that they have a glimpse into a world beyond what everyone else can see. After all, for all they know, little boys with red faces run around peeking into windows all the time. Children have no basis to doubt a strange experience that someone else may be called crazy for witnessing. I'd try camping out in the child's room overnight with the blinds open. See, the problem is I wouldn't even know what to do if I actually saw him. I'd be more scared than her and would force us to move. We live on the second floor and there's no way it could be an actual child, so it would definitely be paranormal. This has been freaking me out to even think about. I'm home alone tonight, so maybe I'll take a peek. If I don't respond back tomorrow, I've died of a heart attack. I was thinking that you might discover a more mundane reason, perhaps a reflection of a distant light that appears to look like a face to a 4-year-old. Keep in mind that this could be something else. I've had a lot of ghost encounters. I've seen a little boy running in and out of my mom's room into mine. My mom saw my reaction and asked what happened, and I just stared down the hall. It kept peeking its head out from my door, and I felt that it was not a little boy. I called it out on it, and the next thing I know, that little boy was not little anymore. These things are so tricky, and love to be deceitful. I'm not saying you have a demon. You very well could just have a little lost boy, but just be careful. And if you don't want him around, set your boundaries. Maybe even tell your kiddo that when she does see him, to be stern and tell him to go away and leave. Can anyone help me understand what happened to me? This was about 4 years ago. I was in college, staying in an apartment on campus. I was talking to a guy who ended up being tremendously abusive during our relationship, just in case that's relevant. And because we were in that will we won't we phase, we ended up talking until the early hours of the morning in my apartment. Once we decided it was late and he should go home, I walked him outside to his car. While we were in the parking lot, we made some light goodbye chatter that was interrupted by the sound of barking dogs. Like, a lot of dogs. It sounded like thousands, maybe. We both jumped and looked all around us to the source of the horrifying roar that was ripping through the air to the point where we couldn't even hear each other. Let me be clear. Whatever this was, it sounded like a horde, barking over each other, getting louder and more aggressive, turning almost into howls, like a war cry. It kept getting closer until I felt like whatever this was would surely be on us in a second, and then it stopped all at once. An expectancy of resolution hung in the air until we both heard each other's breath again and asked if the other was okay and if we heard the same thing. The whole situation was only about 12 to 15 seconds, but it felt like the barking and howling was so long for it to stop all at once at the loudest point, I just cannot find anything like this experience from other people, and it's plagued me since it happened. I asked other people in my complex if they heard anything at all. Most of them were asleep, but a few people that were awake said that they only heard some cars passing and maybe some distant chatter at times. Whenever a really vivid encounter like this happens, it makes me wonder where the sounds are coming from. Is there an actual animal involved? Is this something like a glitch? A sound projected into the world at the wrong time? Or is it not even a sound at all? Just impulses directed into the storyteller's brain. That last theory might even hold up due to the fact that no one else in the apartment complex mentioned being able to hear the dogs. Now the only question is why.
To me, it sounds like something was trying to warn you about that guy.
It wouldn't surprise me. I had a lot of spiritual encounters from this guy that were absolutely just malicious spirits he had attracted with his lifestyle.
What were these other encounters? Was he also creeped out by them, or was this something he wanted to attract or was just used to? What kind of lifestyle did he live that felt like he was attracted to these malicious spirits?
I'm absolutely not well versed in these types of things, but he welcomed really any spirit that came around as a good sign. Like, he never sought out spirits, but the time I woke up with a shadow man sitting in a rocking chair watching me sleep and shook him awake, he said it was probably just his grandpa. Every time I had tried to escape the relationship to the point where I'd take refuge in another city, my electronic devices would start playing his favorite song on their own and not stop. He was very abusive in every way you can be, and from what I've heard, that can attract evil spirits to feed on that sorrow and fear. It honestly would be hard for me to believe that evil spirits weren't following him, given how angry he was and how fast his temper would turn. Forgot to mention, another spiritual encounter we had was this very notorious spirit that wandered a park a few cities over. We didn't know about her, and had to look up everything we could find on her once we got home. Her legend said she only appeared to soulmates out of jealousy.
Could you give us the layout of your terrain? Like, was it located in a wooded or mountainous location? My best guess at the moment is 2 large packs of wolves were fighting with each other.
It was in the middle of a massive city, no mountains or woods or anything. And that was my first thought too, but it started from one certain direction and almost became surround sound by the time it stopped all at once.
My only other guess then is someone with speakers or a large pack of street dogs, but that's not as likely. Unless you were close to a dog pound or had a large dog population in the area, had you been drinking or smoking by any chance?
At the time of this incident, I had never even seen weed, and I hadn't drank a single drop in my life either. No dog pound nearby, and I can't think of a time I had ever seen a stray dog at my school. Cats, yes, but no dogs.
Did you jump in the car? How did you feel? Threatened? Afraid? Curious? Did your ex talk about it later and arrive at any conclusions?
He walked me back inside of my apartment building and ran as fast as he could to his car. I stayed nearby, wanting to make sure that he was safe. He called me from his car until he got to his own apartment. We did talk about it after the fact, and he was convinced that it was residual spirits due to the fact that our school was built almost entirely on Native American burial grounds. But I wasn't convinced due to the snarling and barking I know I heard.
I have a question. Was your then boyfriend into any dark arts? Just curious.
No, not to my knowledge. He was a Taoist. He mentioned attending some summoning sessions as a freshman to do some soul searching, as well as exploring some abandoned, haunted buildings. Now that I think about it, though, he did line his back and front porch with salt and burn some kind of bundled herb at least monthly.
Some Taoists are into the esoteric. Summoning sessions are occult in nature. That said, my first thought about what you described was hellhounds. Could possibly be a residual haunting. There are many stories of people staying in areas that were formerly battlefields and suddenly hearing what sounds like complete warfare all around them. There's also that one spot in England where it said you can hear the marching Romans, but only see their upper half from the ground because they're still using the original road. I'm guessing maybe it's something similar to that, but what's baffling is that I only thought humans were special enough to leave behind spectral imprints like that. Outside of that, I'd maybe look up what animals are native to the region, and if there's nothing there that barks, I'd be pretty concerned. Hey, so just my read on things. Dogs barking in a parking structure are going to cause echoes, and it's going to have weird acoustics. Further, big cities can definitely have packs of dogs roaming around. But you said the sound stopped suddenly, and that doesn't sound like natural acoustics. A lot of folks have suggested hellhounds, which is a good guess because there's another type of hound that was predominantly reported in the UK called black dogs. The Hound of the Baskervilles is a famous story on the black dog legends. Basically, black dogs are heralds of misfortune, usually seen roaming in an area before the death of a loved one or some other catastrophe. They aren't dangerous themselves, and some have reported to be keeping watch over the sick, especially children. If I remember correctly, there's no real way to avoid the misfortune a black dog is warning you of. I think that there was a report of a man avoiding a long trip after seeing a black dog, only to have an unfortunate accident the next day. So, yeah, my second guess is a black dog or dogs were trying to warn you that something was going to happen.
So you're actually not alone. I experienced this exact phenomenon too, but my experience came from a neighbor's basement. I was conducting a routine investigation, and a radio that wasn't plugged in, mind you, turned on by itself, and a loud, ravenous barking came from a door I know for a fact that no dogs were behind. It was deafening, but lasted only a few seconds. It seems that this is a reoccurring thing. I haven't the foggiest idea on the source, but I hope this gives you solace to know that you are not alone. I heard another story about a dog barking. A girl was being chased by a man and his dog. She could hear the dog barking so loudly and it scared her. She thought that dog would attack. Interestingly, the dog's vicious bark was the only way that she knew where the man was behind her and how far. She eventually kept running and he gave up. She went to a psychic months later. Obviously, this incident shook her, and the psych said, "The dog was barking to warn you, to protect you." The dog was on her side and knew that she was in danger. I agree that this event was a warning against him. Speaking of dogs, after submitting an earlier story that we read several episodes ago, in which the storyteller saw multiple dogs circling the front of a local church, they've come back with more stories to tell. Here's one that still haunts me. Now, the town that I live in and grew up in is a very small and eerie town, where every second house is haunted or just very creepy. To get an understanding, we can walk the length of the town in about 15 to 20 minutes. With not a lot of residents, it's a very quiet town with literally nothing to do. The town has a lot of open fields, like in the middle of town for some reason, and there's about 3 abandoned train tracks around the town, with one of them going through it. We're always warned as children never to cross a train track at night, for it's extremely dangerous. The house we grew up in bordered 2 of those fields and 1 of the train tracks. Since I was a small child, going outside at night was just something we did not do. If you left something outside, it would stay there until morning. There would be strange sounds and movement around the yard. Nothing would happen or come into the yard. Everything seemed to happen outside of it. However, there was always the feeling of something watching us from a distance. glowing red or yellow eyes coming from the field, stalking us in the middle of the night. We could hear distinct loud growls, and there would seemingly be a huge creature watching us from the fence. One night, I was about 16 or so, and I was sitting outside at night on the little steps by the front door. I just got into a fight with my parents and I needed some air. Then I saw a huge creature standing there just looking at me, and then it smiled a smile so terrifying I could feel my heart skip several beats. But something was off. It felt like this creature was calling me, almost pulling me in, and before I knew it, I was pretty close to the fence, almost directly in the creature's face. It was almost as if I was controlled by something. My brain said run, but my body just couldn't move. The creature wanted me to move out of the yard. I could feel it. I could feel it pulling me closer. That's when I finally could actually blurt out the word no, and I could feel my body slowly becoming mine again. I fought this creature with all my might, and I could feel the creature getting angry. I got control of my body, and I fought away from the creature until it lost its grip on me, and I turned, but when I did, the creature took a swipe at me, and it scratched me on the chest. Luckily, it wasn't bad, as he just nicked me with the tip of his claws. I ran as fast as I could and locked myself in the house. To this day, I still see that creature in my dreams, like he's marked my soul forever.
Wow. When you finally got control again and the creature got mad, did its face change or was it still smiling, but somehow you knew it was mad anyway? Also, did your parents have any reaction to this incident? I know it was dark, but did you get any idea of the shape and size or nature of this creature? For example, was it humanoid, bear-like, reptile? I'm glad that you were able to get out okay.
It was still smiling, but I could just feel the anger. It was almost an animalistic rage, if that makes sense. Like when you just know a dog is mad. My parents did not believe me. They just thought I made it all up, even when I showed them the scratches. The creature was somewhat tall and humanoid. It was hard to tell anything at night, but its eyes were piercing. It also had long fingers or claws, I guess. This was Dante Calvino. Let me know what you thought of the format for these stories, or if you have one of your own to tell. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more mystery every week.